Good morning, everybody. Before I get started with today's projects, let's talk a little bit about knife maintenance. Now, I keep getting asked about sharpening, how to sharpen. I've got 2 sharpening videos already out, so y'all look those up. That should explain the heavy sharpening part. And this morning I'm going to show you how to take care of your knives a little bit more, and a few tips on how to touch up your edge and how to sharpen if you're out in the field somewhere and you don't have proper stuff to do it with. So first let's talk about maintenance. Y'all seen this one before. This is my Wallace one that I like to carry during hunting season, and about the only time I carry it is hunting season because it's big, bulky. Walk around town with this on and people want to look at it, and you scare some people, and you know how things are in today, you know. I do carry my little camp knife when I go to town or something, but anyway, it's just too big for everyday carry. Now, I used this last year to quarter up a deer. When I got done with it, washed it, resharpened it, put a light coat of oil on it, and it hadn't been touched since. Alright, it could use a little bit more oil on it, which I'll put some on there in a minute. Still sharp, ready to go for this year. Alright, we'll put that one away. Now, some of you know who you are. When you got finished cleaning that deer last year, you rinsed it off, wiped it on your shirt, put it back in the scabbard, threw it in the toolbox. Alright, now it's almost deer season again. Now you're looking for your knife. Alright, you find it at the bottom of the toolbox. You pull it out, and it looks like that. Alright, and you get mad at me because my knife is rusted. You sold me a knife that rusted. Yeah. Alright, high carbon steel knives rust. Doesn't matter where you get them from, who you get them from. If you don't take care of them, they will rust. Now, this is mine. I'm guilty on this. This is I've showed this one before too, I think. It didn't look like this, but I use this one outside at the sink a lot. Do a little bit of hide scraping with it. Just this and that and the other. Somehow it got knocked off the counter out there again. Wound up down on the ground, and I didn't realize until I found it the other day. So this one is going to take some major work to get it back in shape. Handle's got to be resealed. May even need a new handle on it this time. But if you don't take care of your knives, that's what they'll wind up looking like. So don't do that. Alright, tips on if you're out in the woods, knife gets dull, you don't have a whetstone. Take your coffee cup. Almost everybody I know carries a coffee cup. Well, there's 2 or 3 in the truck somewhere. Turn it upside down. These ceramic cups, that edge right there is a little bit rough. Take your knife, just like that. And as long as you don't get it dull to the point where you've been chopping wire and stuff you're not supposed to be using a knife for anyway, that will put your edge back on there for you. Just like that coffee cup. Another thing you can use, find you a rock with a smooth surface. Now here in my part of Florida, we don't have rocks just laying around out in the woods. Not many anyway. This is a piece of flint that a friend of mine gave me. I believe this piece came from Texas. Anyway, it's fairly flat. Now this will do a little better job if you booger the edge up a little bit. Just use it just like you would a regular whetstone. Close to a creek or something, you dip it in the water, just like that. and that'll get you by until you can get back to where you got your proper tools at. It's still pretty short. Now you can also throw one of these in your truck, butcher steel. Now this is a rather cheap one. It came, I think it was in one of those boxes that I got at the flea market, box of stuff. But I keep this one hanging up out by the sink too, because when I'm filleting fish or cutting meat with one of these or whatever, it works real well. So if you run it like that, just like that, and that will put your edge back on there as well. Now when you get done with all that, where's my paper towels go? Here, napkin, just as good. Vegetable oil, or any kind of oil you want to use. A lot of times, most times I'll use machine oil, 3-in-1 oil. But it's a petroleum base. A lot of people don't like that. Just dab a little bit on there, not much. You don't need a whole lot. Put it on there just like that. Now the thicker coat of oil, especially vegetable oil, the thicker you put it on there, when it dries good, it'll get sticky. When I ship kitchen knives and that type of thing, I put a pretty heavy coat on there, because who knows how long it's going to take to get where it's going, and who knows if they're going to leave it out, set it out in the rain, let the box get wet, and all this and that. You know how them post office people are. Not my son-in-law, he's a good postman. There we go. Once you get your coat of oil back on there, put it back in the scabbard. Put it somewhere where it's going to stay dry. Don't just throw it in your toolbox or throw it in the bottom of the boat. If you have a leather scabbard, don't leave it in a hot truck or in direct sunlight anyway. Maybe at least stick it under the seat or somewhere. Well, you can also take your chunk of beeswax and coat your blade with that if you want to. So there's a few tips on taking care of your knives. You pick your knife up and it looks like that, you didn't do it right. And if your knife does look like that, and you don't know what to do with it, send it to me. We'll talk about it and I'll fix it for you. Now, I've got a 4 knives almost finished. Get them finished up today, hopefully, as long as nothing happens. And I'll get those sent out. One all needs is a scabbard. I'll get that one done up first and get that one mailed out to you. What else was I going to say? I have managed to make a lot of my friends on my personal Facebook page mad, which that's fine. I don't care. There's bugs in here. The only Facebooking I'm doing right now is the knife page, Wallace Knife Works on Facebook, and I'll leave a link to that because somebody told me the other day they didn't know I had one. So there's a lot of pictures and all that kind of stuff on there. All the videos, the YouTubes, they all wind up on there too. But that Facebook it's okay. It's a good way for mine is 99% family. That's how we keep up with each other. But you try to read news stories and it's negative, 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 negative. Not just the election, just all kind of stuff, and just some absolutely filthy stuff that's on there, and I don't want to see it. Not pointing at my friends necessarily, but some of the language that's used on there, I'm not going to tolerate it. Now, I'm not a saint by no means. A bunch of men sitting around the campfire drinking beer, yeah, there's going to be some language, and there's going to be some, what are they calling it nowadays, locker room talk. I spent 6 years in the United States Army. I spent 30 years around construction sites. I've heard everything. But there's a place that you can tolerate stuff in places, you know, that you can't. In a public forum, my wife reads Facebook, or she did, she quit too. She don't hardly look at it anymore. All my kids, of course, that's the thing for kids, you know. And I just not going to have it. If I get used to not even having it, I'll delete that account and just keep the knife page open, because that's a good way to get messages back and forth. And I have email, if you need me. Email addresses all over the knife page. And for my friends locally around here, you remember those things that we used to pick up and dial a number and talk to somebody, call a telephone? I've still got one of those, besides my cell phone, which I'm really getting tired of that thing too. And every time I turn around, it's ding, 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 and nobody calls me on it. It's just silly stuff. But anyway, I wanted to say that this morning before I get started. I know I'm rambling, but oh well, I'm rambling. But y'all like my snazzy new apron? They had a sale at Harbor Freight. I burned a hole in my old one, that home apron that I made, but I will fix that one eventually and keep using it too. Alright, I'm going to get back to work, and I'll post this video now. Later on in the day, I'll post another one to show you all these finished knives before I get them sent out. Get me some orders in if you would, please. Remember, again, Christmas is coming. Don't get in the backlog when it gets closer and closer, because I'm not going to be able to get to everybody again this year, just like last year. I'm going to try to do everything I can. But y'all get me some orders in. I've got 2 big orders on the books that I'm fixing to start when I finish these. So that'll take a lot of time. So y'all need something, let me know. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for your support. Y'all have a good day.